Now it's time for Lefty's Losing It, and the TV Lefty Loony cult is back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the cult of MSNBC and, of course, their chief loon, Joy Reid, who has compared Joe Biden being diagnosed with COVID to, wait for it, Trump surviving an assassination attempt.
Donald Trump is an elderly man who, for whatever reason, was given 9 seconds to take a iconic photo op during an active shooter situation. Weird situation. We'll figure that out one day. But his survival of that and bouncing right back and going right to his convention is being conveyed in the media world as a sign of strength. This current president of the United States is 81 years old and has COVID. Should he be fine in a couple of days? Doesn't that convey exactly the same thing? That he's strong enough, older than Trump, to have gotten something that used to really be fatal to people his age. So if he does fine out of it and comes back and is able to do rallies, isn't that exactly the same?
Yes, you really did hear that right. A cold, of course, is absolutely the same as getting shot. And that was the moment Joy Reid sunk so low into the realms of insanity. Now to our friends over at The View, specifically Whoopi Goldberg, or Poopy Goldberg, as she's now known.
I have poopy days all the time.
Okay. Well, she is back in the habit of Trump alarmism.
It's up to each and every person in this audience to make sure you get out there and vote. And no, you can't lay by the wayside and say, I'm going to let somebody else do it. Because this requires you recognizing that we're all in danger here.
Danger! Oh, she's so stressed. Trump has really broken old Whoopi, hasn't he? Speaking of broken, this lefty thinks Trump paid to be shot.
I'm going to say it first before any of my other friends say it. I bet Trump did this. I bet you he paid somebody to do this. I mean, think about it. What a better way to garner sympathy from people that are on the fence than having somebody shoot at you. And he probably hit his ear by accident. Ended up telling on himself on Truth Social, so yeah.
Aha, gotcha. Yes, shoot me. Make sure, though, you only just clip my ear, just a little bit. Shouldn't be too hard, just a quick shot up there. And this is the moment his soul leaves his body as he details how Trump got blood on his face.
Honestly, my best guess was that it was ketchup from that McDonald's package that he probably had stuffed underneath the podium. He was down there and just figured he'd take a quick bite of his Big Mac.
Look, I think you need a doctor to help cure your case of acute and chronic Trump derangement syndrome. Please get some help. Now to a good friend of the Rita Panahi show, Alex Stein, who put himself on the line, got kicked out of the Republican convention, but for a worthy cause, to rile up lefty Cenk Uygur.
Something that was
No, I don't know.
by the government.
No, I'm not. I don't know.
Hey, get out of here, man. What the hell? Jesus Christ with these lunatic Republicans. Total lunatic Republicans. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me your lunatic conspiracy theory about how
I don't have any lunatic conspiracy theories.
And yes, that was indeed Cenk live on Piers Morgan. Here's another angle for you.
The government.
Cenk is transgender. Cenk is transgender.
Government.
No, I'm not. I don't know.
Hey, get out of here, man. What the hell? Jesus Christ with these lunatic Republicans.
Oh, it's always so funny when the lefties get angry and snap. Alex certainly knows how to make them lose their minds. Now to Karen, who refuses to have a second baby if Trump is re-elected.
If Trump is successful in this next presidential election, I will not be having another baby. I'm currently a mother and desperately want to have another baby. However, since Republicans have politicized my uterus and reproductive health care, overturned Roe v. Wade, and made women's health and bodies part of their political agenda to be controlled, I do not think it is safe, even in California, even in blue states, to have a pregnancy in a Republican-controlled country.
Well, look, I mean, the less lefty liberals, certainly not a bad thing. Now to a brand spanking new gender pronoun. Move over they, them, and please welcome to the team, Gender Floret.
Hey everyone, my name is Bunny. I use fun pronouns. So continuing on the video talking about the gender fae, identities, there's one called gender floret. So gender floret and gender fay are pretty similar, where gender fay is gender fluid between agender identities and female. Gender floret is gender fluid amongst different agender neutroid identities with some feelings of femininity that can come in every now and then, but never fully identifying as female. That's what I've got for gender floret. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Oh, gender floret, so cute. Sounds quite feminine, like a floret flower. I might give it a whirl myself. Danica De Gender Floret. Has a ring to it, don't you think? And to this lefty who thinks, wait for it, that men can menstruate.
Period poverty doesn't just affect women. Two-spirits, trans men, non-binary people, and genderqueer people can all have periods. And arguably, period poverty may be higher in these populations. Here's why. You ever seen a tampon dispenser or a box of free tampons in a men's bathroom? What about a period aisle not labeled feminine hygiene or pink boxes all around it? Periods can be a really tough and dangerous time for people that aren't cisgender women. So if you're donating period products or putting them in your workplace or school, make sure they're in all bathrooms. Or at least that all people have access to these products. Because blood has no gender, baby.
Hate to break it to you, but tampons aren't in men's bathrooms because men don't have periods. Just another day in the woke world we live in. Joining me now is Sky News contributor Kosha Garda. Kosha, thank you for joining us. Look, Joe Biden, fresh from his COVID diagnosis, has had, well, a Biden moment, or at least someone in his team has. He's posted this bizarre tweet saying, quote, "I'm sick. That's it. I'm sick." And then 3 minutes later, he added to the thread of Elon Musk and his rich buddies trying to buy this election. Kosha, either it's Joe or his team with the fumbling fingers on social media today.
You know, talk about an unforced error in a time when he really can't afford it. He has no margin for any type of error. And it's interesting, you know, he's always been known as somebody who's gaffe prone. Obviously, now we're well beyond gaffe prone, his cognitive decline. But in the written word, this is not an issue. And the fact that it even happened there is unfortunate for him. Obviously, he added that tweet 3 minutes later, as you mentioned, to finish the thought here as staff. But the damage was done, and the internet meme factory has had a field day with it. There's all sorts of pictures and things trending about, you know, I'm sick of this election, I'm sick of and want to drop out of the race, I'm sick of Donald Trump, etc. So people are having a little bit of fun with it. I think the COVID thing is more serious. Canceling a speech doesn't help his image problem, where he does look frail and feeble, and that just feeds into that. Not to mention, it reminds everybody about the fiasco with how governments everywhere handled COVID and how his party continues to push some of those narratives. I think that's also something that he probably would rather not have back into focus, but here he is.
Yeah, good point. And yeah, shocking timing when he's desperately trying to prove to the world that he has the mental capability to go for another round. Terrible timing. Now, CNN is reporting that Joe Biden is actually receptive to discussions about his future. A senior Democrat advisor says he's being receptive, not as defiant as he is publicly. He's gone from saying Kamala can't win to, do you think Kamala can win? Kosha, what do you make of these reports?
You know, I take it with a huge grain of salt, Danica, because the mainstream media has turned on him, and we saw that in the wake of that debate. They've sort of been on a pause after the assassination attempt with President Trump for obvious reasons, and now they're starting to warm up that narrative again. I still don't see any hard evidence that suggests Biden is going to voluntarily be receptive or inch towards possibly stepping down. If it happens, it's going to be because enough pressure from the real movers and shakers in the party are coming to bear, and that pressure may be too much for him. But for now, it sounds like he and the family are still dug in.
Well, speaking of movers and shakers, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer reportedly forcefully shared with President Biden concerns about him leading the 2024 Democratic ticket and encouraged him to step aside. Have a listen to this.
This was a one-on-one meeting, just the Senate leader and the president, and that Chuck Schumer forcefully made the case that it would be better for Biden, better for the Democratic Party, and better for the country if he were to bow out of the race. And David, when I went to Schumer's office to ask them to tell them I was going to report this and tell you this tonight, absolutely no denial from Senator Schumer's office. They only said this: Leader Schumer conveyed the views of his caucus. In other words, the views of Democratic senators.
Kosher, Chuck Schumer's office, as you just heard there, have not denied those claims. Where does this leave Biden now when he's lost the support of the Senate Majority Leader?
Yeah, now we're talking. So when we say that the pressure being brought to bear, there's always been 4 names, ultimately, that really, really matter, not the media, not George Clooney. That is Obama, Clinton, as in really Bill Clinton, Chuck Schumer as the Senate Majority Leader, and Nancy Pelosi. And, the former presidents have been at least publicly staying out of it or staying above the fray. But these two, Pelosi and Schumer, have sort of been intimating a little bit. They haven't come out yet with a big call for him to step down, but just saying things like not denying the reports, or when Pelosi was asked, she said, it's up to him to make the decision. They're not exactly out there with ringing endorsements, which is a big tell. And I think these 4 and how much power they have in their ability to get Biden to step down or put that pressure, I think is going to be revealed in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And we're all going to find out ultimately who really has a bigger power in this party, because right now I still maintain it's a 50-50 chance whether he does it or not.
Yeah, interesting. And I just wonder what happens now with his COVID diagnosis. Where does that still lead him? Plus all these big figures now coming out saying, nah, he's not the one. So we'll be watching that closely. Now, CNN has obtained Democratic-funded polling that shows Joe Biden is losing ground to Trump in 14 key states. Here's the state of play.
16 weeks from tomorrow, we count the votes. It is tough to change a map like this in that amount of time. And here's why Democrats are so worried, why so many Democrats are saying, Mr. President, please reconsider and get out of this race. Because right now, Trump is leading here. And Trump is leading here, narrowly, but he's ahead in those states. Trump is leading here. That's 312 electoral votes.
Kosher, if this was replicated in November, what is being projected, is it safe to say it's a Republican wipeout?
If this is replicated, it would be. I think reportedly this was exactly the information that Schumer took into that meeting with Biden to try and make that point. I think it would translate to anywhere from 330 electoral votes and above to Trump, which is something that a Republican candidate hasn't seen in 40 years. However, I will continue to caution that I believe, notwithstanding all of that, this election is still going to be very, very, very close, because these polls do not measure what arguably is the biggest force that drives U.S. elections right now, and that is the machinery, the ground game, and the Democrat Party, regardless of who the nominee ends up being, is just really, really good and historically superior to the Republican Party in doing that, in micro-targeting, driving turnout, acquiring ballots, chasing low-propensity voters and get them to mail in ballots in those little swing counties and states that this election will turn on. And I think that picture remains a big part of this that these polls don't reflect.
Now, Kosher, Trump's first official campaign following the announcement of his vice presidential pick is out. Here it is.
They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again.
Kosher, it actually is a 2.5-minute ad, and in it he criticises the several criminal charges he's facing and promises to totally obliterate the deep state. How much is he appealing to his base here?
Huge. This is red meat for the base. They've been with him throughout all of these attacks, against him reputationally, legally, and now with his life. So for sure. But I think also, very interestingly, it's appealing to the outer perimeter of his base, and just the realignment of the acceptance, the acceptability of the choice to support Trump openly that's happened in the last couple of months is something I've never seen before. You've got everybody from rap stars like 50 Cent to the Silicon Valley titans to Elon Musk, richest man in the world, to Wall Street people, to Dr. Phil, who's a daytime talk TV legend in America and has a huge suburban mom audience. All these people have been coming out supporting him. And a big turning point for that really was the lawfare, when Mar-a-Lago was raided and these different cases were brought to him. That really became a turning point for a lot of people who maybe weren't open Trump supporters before. And this video goes to the heart of that and supports, galvanizes them further.
Yeah, it just feels like there's such a momentum towards the party at the moment. Now, J.D. Vance has addressed the Republican convention in quite an incredible speech. Here's part of it.
And so tonight, Mr. Chairman, I stand here humbled, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to say I officially accept your nomination to be Vice President of the United States of America.
And on the other side, Kamla Harris was out with a scare campaign against J.D. Vance.
Hey, everyone. So Donald Trump has picked his new running mate, J.D. Vance. Trump looked for someone he knew would be a rubber stamp for his extreme agenda, and make no mistake, J.D. Vance will be loyal only to Trump, not to our country.
Well, Kosher, it sets up a great vice presidential debate.
It sure does. And interestingly, Danica, the Trump campaign just put out an email that's the ultimate trolling of Vice President Harris, where they said, we cannot agree to a date for the vice presidential debate because we don't know who the vice president would be. And if J.D. Vance were to debate you, Kamala, that would be unfair to Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer or whoever else the vice president would be. So they're obviously trolling them back to that point of, will Biden drop out? Will Kamala be actually at the top of the ticket? And someone else will be the VP. So we have no idea. And this election cycle just gets crazier.
That is a very good point. Who is going to be the president nominee? Who is going to be the vice president for the Democrats? We're still waiting to find that final confirmation. Kosher Garda, good to be with you. Thanks for joining us.